Greetings, give thanks for joining. Today, we're covering Hekaus. Right? What is that? What is Hekaus? Right? Let me give a moment. Yes. Yeah, you back with me?
Yeah, back online.
All right. Okay. So, as I said, today we're going to be dealing with Hekaus. What are Hekaus? Even before I go into that, you probably have an understanding of Hekaus when I say something like, use a word like mantra, okay, or chanting. Okay, now you get more familiar with it. But as far as Hekaus, that particular word, that's a meta word. So when I'm talking about meta, I'm talking about what is falsely referred to as hieroglyphics, the language of the ancient Kemites. Those from those ancient Egyptians, right? But Medu, let's just take time going to that. Medu is sacred writing, okay? Neter is divine. Neter can be a few things. It could be divine. It could be nature. It could be material. It could be the energies within. But just for the sake of this, for Medu Neter, breaking down the language, we'll say Medu, sacred writing, and divine Neter. All right. So sacred writings of the divine, Medu Neter. So Hekau means Hekau, Hekau. So a lot of times, like this is the ancient language, and really and truly, we do our best to get the pronunciation right. But there is no one living, no one around that could really pass on the proper pronunciation of the words. So we're just doing our best to, I guess, incorporate more of an African tongue into it. So if I would just say English, Hekau, it just sounds like Hekau. But if I really pronounce it, Hekau, right? So that means magical words or words of power, one of the two, depending. But when we're going from one language to the next, we think it's as simple as like, oh yeah, well, this is in English. So the English representation of this in this language, it's never like that. English is the infant language, really and truly. That's the last language. You know, any other language that we talk about other than English predates it, really and truly. So the more ancient language that we get to, the more we incorporate the usage of the spirit with the tone, the vibrations, the energy. That's what it is. When you hear indigenous languages around the world and you just listen to it, it just sounds beautiful. It's harmonious to the ear. You know, there's different tones and vibrations. But yes, English is more monotone, and the definitions of particular words never do us justice to actually describe what is happening within our mind or in the spirit realm, really and truly. So yeah, I think the description or the usage of any other language as far as expression is closer than what it is in English. That being said, the word. I feel that every time I connect with more indigenous or ancient language or ancient tones and ancient Hekaus, I feel within myself there's an activation. There's a difference. I leave the realm of English, and after some time of even just going into that account, I really just transcend it and I just get into vibrations, where it's more vibrations and light codes and things like this that is seen. I find it very different when I'm chanting in English. When I'm chanting in English, I feel like I stay here. I stay here with the realm. So even like the affirmations and different things that are in English, I feel like I stay here within this realm, and I'm analyzing the words that I'm saying too much, and I go off. But within the tones of the Hekaus, even if for those people that don't even know what they mean, I've had people say, oh, wow, I feel great after this. I'm like, that's interesting. So not even understanding the definition of what they're actually saying, but just going through the Hekaus and then after the session, just feeling that much more light, fulfilled, or releasing stress. It was like some type of release happened. So Om. I guess we live in a world where I can't completely leave Om out when I'm talking about a cow. Yes, I've done a decade plus of studies around the world, studied with different teachers, thousands of hours of practice in myself. But Om, at this time, if I'm really honest with you, I don't know if Om was the first sound. I've been taught that for such a long time, but I don't know. I have no idea if Om was the first sound, the first tone of vibration. But somewhere in that, there is something. That's what I'll say. There is something. There's a particular energy, there's a particular vibration, you know what I mean, that we end up hitting when we do Om. And for me, it's never when it's done once. It has to be something that I get into, that I'm practicing, I'm active. Things that we do in yoga classes around the world and stuff like that, it's very partial. We just take a little part and we just sprinkle it into the session. So we're used to, okay, you go to yoga class around the world. You're starting with Om, and then you go into some crazy movements that the teacher's telling you to do, you know, when you're not even physically fit enough for it, and it's your first class. So it's there's no it doesn't mesh well. I think we get too much all the time. Too much all the time. Things need to be simplified. So if we're dealing with Om, let's just practice Om within itself. Really practice it. Not once, not twice, but getting lost into that space where you're not even watching the time or counting how many times you said it, but you're really going into the feeling. I go into the Om and I allow that Om to vibrate from my pubic area, from my roots. I don't let it start. Hopefully you can see me sometimes. You see? Just bring this down a little bit. Yeah, I don't let the Om start from here, from my belly, pushing out my belly. No, you know, I'm energetic. So even though I've been taught different ways, through my experience, I've found a different path. So when I'm seated in a pratam or easy pose, a seated position, seated posture in a chair, whatever it is, something that is comfortable, a position that you could be in for an extended period of time, right? So even when we're sitting down and most yoga classes, make sure you're upright, make sure you're upright, make sure you're straight. Like, this isn't comfortable for a lot of people. So if we're practicing Hekaus, chants, mantras, get comfortable. Don't worry about sitting in the supposed perfect pose for it. No, get yourself comfortable. If you need to put your back against the wall, put your back against the wall. If you need pillows under your butt, put pillows under your butt. Get yourself comfortable so you're not focused on holding your body up and being uncomfortable and the different tension that you're feeling in the pose. So you don't even get to go into the actual vibration, right? So now Om. 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 oh. Hearing all these different sounds. Whether you're dealing with an O, you're dealing with an A, U, M, everything should be hit. These are all different codes. What they actually do and activate, I have no idea. You tell me, it's personal to you. But yes, it is an opening, it is a release. It is a removal of blocked energy or toxic energy or stagnant things into your energetic pipes. But let's start with O. O. O originating from the root. O. Thinking about the O coming from the root. O. O. I'm not even traveling up yet, but O. See how I'm pushing my mouth down slightly. I'm elongating my jaw. O. 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 Try to get it nice light. So you can take your mic off, put your mic on. So let's just listen. Oh. 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 Relax the shoulders, let it travel up from the root. Oh. Oh. All right. Now, oh. You see, there was just a slight switch. I moved from here, and with my tongue, I adjusted my tongue a little bit, and I brought it more towards the back of my throat. So, oh. 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 Shoulder. Now let's elongate it a little bit. Oh. Oh. Now let's bring in an M. So little by little, we're gonna just bring it to start to close the opening of the mouth. So we go. Oh. And I contain that sound with my lips still closed, still lengthening the M a little bit more. Oh. Nice, nice. Okay, right now, I know you're not in your tone, you're in my tone because you're mimicking me. I get it, but as we practice, you release that a little bit, and you'll find your own tone, because that tone is comfortable for me to maintain. You know, obviously I have my voice is deeper, so that's comfortable for me to maintain. I could stay just chanting ohms like that. I don't want you to be ohming at a tone that is uncomfortable for you, and you're not able to maintain. So even just the lengthening of the ohms. I was giving you an example, but your breath might not be there, but it is practice. So if you feel like you're not able to you don't have enough breath in you to close out the ohm properly with the, then don't extend your front part so long. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so let's go into it. We're just gonna go into to ohms. Not gonna do it too long. Maybe about five repetitions. Take a little breather, and then going into another 5 like that. But I won't be adjusting. I won't be stopping you within the ohms. Only when I say "whoo" to just bring it to a close. So once again, you're thinking about where the ohm is originating from. You're thinking of you want to, as that sound is traveling up the root, so is that sekem, that life force energy, is going with you. Oh. All right. What I just thought about as I was going through that is need to bring some more focus onto the breath. So before we release that Om, the breath is the power. Breath is the power behind the Om. So I do take an inhalation before each Hekaus. So my inhalation, I start at the root the same way. Start at the root or under the about the pubic bone, and I travel upward. I inhale, and I contain that breath right here. Me for myself, I contain that breath right here. And then I drop down again to release it. Oh, so I come up with the breath here, contain it in the solar plexus, then I drop it back down. Oh. Right. Go ahead and continue. All right, release. So this was lovely. It's lovely. Their sounds, their vibrations. I probably teach that way because that's what I resonate with, and that's what I resonate with. Like a lot of the Tibetan monks and the chanting the Tibetan monks do, you know what I mean? I've listened to that from young, so I resonate with that. So a lot of my Ohms and my chanting, stuff like that, it comes from that from that deep place, deep baritone resonating house. So, oh, so yeah. So I get that. I understand why I do that. But that being said, there's so many other ways that you could go into it. You gotta find your way. Yes, you could go into different octaves in ohms as well. It's not just that way. But what I'm just saying is, think about this, the principles that we went through, the different guidelines, the breath, the sounds that we're making, and through you going into your own practice and going into it on a regular, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or just building up, just having a consistency. Let's just start with just something simple, just 5 minutes, just 5 minutes every rise. When you're practicing at home, you're going to tune into your own vibration. You know what I mean? You practicing that for 21 days or 31 days, the ohms are going to sound very different to what you just started with. You understand? So yes, it could be lighter. It could be oh. So it all depends. All these different ways that I just went into the ohm. It depends how I feel, really and truly, because me teaching a class is not the same as how I would actually enter it if I was in my own space. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm stopping, I'm talking, I'm trying to get you there, stuff like. If I was left in my own space, just in nature, just off to my own, it'll look very different, and it'll change. My rhythms will change. I'll go into different things, and then sometimes I let myself go, and I just come up with my own sounds while I'm out there, and I just really full enjoy my own sounds and the spaces that I go into in my own practice. It's very hard to come and try to give you an exact picture of what I do, because I'm here, I'm filmed. I would have to have someone just filming me without me knowing, just so you could see like how I really let go, because it's not as static as we think it is. Like I'm just right there, just seated like no, I really start to let go, and I go off into my own zone, and I start moving with it. You know what I mean? Depending on the chant, and I really just let myself go, because at first I'm really just wound up, and I'm here, and I might be in my head too much, just okay, like still just processing everything that I've been dealing with, and I'm here, and I'm like, and then I go through a few things, a few different programs that I'm still trying to unlearn. Okay, make sure I sit straight, make sure my shoulders are like this, make sure I'm upright. I go through a lot of these things until, when I'm first just saying the ohms, until like a few moments in, I let go, I start to release. I'm not focusing on my breath as much. Everything is in tune. I'm not worried or being more mindful because, someone might walk up on me and I don't want to chant too loud in the house. No, I just really let go. So that's a space that I would also like you to get into, because it's very different chanting at home when there's other people around, or whatever the case, or your partner's around. Even though you might not feel, I don't think about that. It's different. It is different than you just wandering out in nature, just like, popping down and no one's around, and you just really letting go. Because if you wanted to yell it out, or you wanted to shake, you wanted to do a movement, you're just free to do it without feeling like you're being judged or you're being watched, or like, okay, nah, let me not do this because it might look silly. You really just let go. And that's the place that I would like you to get to with this practice. Not just like, just right here with it. I don't want you to be so Western with the practice, is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, you understand? It should be something that you connect with. When you're out there in nature and you're grounded, get dirty. Put your hands in the dirt. Put your hands in the dirt. Hold the dirt in your hands. If you're talking about being grounded, go into your ohms. Use the elements. Understand that the same ohm, the vibration that you're releasing, this natural harmonizing vibration is all around you and in you. So you getting accustomed to the feels of the things of nature around you while you're doing that will really help channel yourself and ground yourself ultimately, you know. So I never want to just give this like, yeah, just say 3 ohms a year, each day. Like, no, I really want this to be as in depth as I can with explaining different subtle energies and nuances about ohms that people don't talk about, or about Hekaus that people don't really discuss. You know what I mean? So I want this to be a good blueprint for that you can always just refer back to, you know. Any questions so far?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Okay. And I probably will use this as a teaching tool, you know, for others. Well, if you are all right with it, because it's me and you on here. Okay. All right. So yes, we're done with Ohm. So I want to take that, use those same principles that we were going through with Ohm, and now we're going to deal with Ankh. Ankh. All right. Another meta-nexa word. But a meta-nexa word. And Ankh means the key of life. Key of life, symbol of life, you want to call it. But yes, Ankh. A-N-K-H. Ankh. And there's so much with Ankh, so much with this that we could go all over with it. But I see Ankh and Smai-Tawi. Ankh and Smai-Tawi are one and the same thing. You know, it's a unification, because we see what makes the Ankh. The Ankh is a combination of the male and female reproductive organs, right? Whether you want to look at it as the phallus and the fallopian tubes, or the womb and the phallus and the testes, whoever. It is a combination. But we know that through this combination, it brings forth life. You know, so that's a very beautiful thing. But Ankh, now chanting Ankh. It's the same way. So I'll start with So I'm starting right at the same place. I take my breath, I drop back down, and I raise it up. So let's just practice that part. You hear? There was a switch in my tone. I started. From here to here. Then I start carrying it to the back of the throat. I go ahead, do that. Now I'm getting ready for the NK. But for the NK, I start to go towards the back of the throat, and I give it more of an NG sound, like a like a Yeah, man. Go on, Jack. All right, sounds nice. Let's go ahead. Same way with that. You know, grounding yourself, starting at the root, working up with the breath to the solar plexus. Drop it back down. Nefer means beautiful, by the way. That's a Kemetic word. So N-F-R, Nefer. Well, with a lot of meta nectar words, there's not really a usage of vowels. They didn't deal with vowels. So, but in trying to get closer to English, then we would write it N-E-F-E-R. But even if you just pronounce it, even if you just see the N-F-R, you would read the same way without the vowels. Nefer. So that's beautiful. So even within that particular Hekaus, Ankh, there's many ways to do it. The way that I just did it right now with you, that's just my own particular expression of it. You know, there's so many ways. Whether you elongate the first part, or if you like elongating the NG or the NK, that sound. And depending on your breath, as your overall capacity, capacity for the breath, the diaphragm, gets better, right? You could do more things. For someone that's only able to release it for 3-4 seconds, I understand. But for someone that has a more lengthy exhalation release, you could play with it a little bit more. So it just all depends. The most important thing is practice. Let's not get caught up with even what you are saying. Am I saying it right? Am I not saying it right? It's just you practicing. At the end of the day, it's tones, vibrations. There's something very healing in hearing your own voice and getting lost into listening to your own voice, not just your voice, but your vibrations, just hearing it come out from you. Do you know what I mean? You can listen to other people all day, but when you connect it to yourself, I have none of these things that I'm talking about are scientifically proven. I have no idea. What I'm talking about is from my own experience. You know what I mean? And that's more than any science to me. That is my truth, you know. So there is an opening. There is an opening within your heart. There is a release. There's a connection to your throat chakra. You know, it's really empowering for you if you feel like you're not able to speak a lot. You're not able to really say what's on your mind. Like you feel like trapped. Like you feel like you're not being heard. You know what I mean? So it's very empowering. That not just the Hekaus, but if I have to link it with a particular pose as well, that is very empowering for the same thing. It'll be Ankhs. You know, sometimes it's called Kemetic. But the lion pose that we go into, that as well, for courage, for confidence, just the pose that you're sitting in, how you're sitting in that pose, the open of the chest, anything that opens up the chest, open up the chest like this, brings forth, causes you to bring forth your heart, right? You're more vulnerable in this position, but the heart is more open, right? Step of putting that forward. So when you're putting that forward and you're releasing with the breath, once again, because it's always a breath that we're dealing with. The Sekhem is traveling up. And the contraction, it's not really the emphasis of the sound that's coming out that I want you to focus on, even though that's lovely. I love to be in nature and just do it as loud as I can, Because you know, in this world that we live in, we don't have the opportunity to really release like that, to really just yell. It's really just, you know, everything has to be contained. Everything is you know, it has to be all of that. So having the opportunity, like when I first got connected with that particular pose, I loved it. I still love it. And I had no problem just yelling it from wherever. I would just wait for that part of my yoga practice, like, you know what I mean? Because I'll be on the beach. I'll be on the beach practicing it, or in the park, or whatever the case, you know. So people would be around me. Oh yeah, oh, look at that brother. You're doing this yoga. Yeah, it's so peaceful. And then I come down, and I'm like, and then birds flying out the trees, a squirrel jumping down. Like, they're like, look at that, like, and I'm like, that felt so good. I'm gonna do it again. Yo, just that alone, like, yeah. So, yes, linking the Kemetic, like Kemetic with chanting, that is beautiful. That is great for building up your courage, building up your confidence, you know, activating your throat chakra, letting yourself be heard, you know what I mean? Like really embracing and just loving yourself in a totality. So if we're gonna link two things together, yeah, let's go with that. So I don't want to make this too long and give too many things, but yes, we could just practice just Ohms. Practice the Ohms. I want you to, even if you have to play this through and just work through this. Use this as your guide, as your manual. You know what I mean? Until you're ready to, you know what, I don't need that anymore. Let me take that off. So it's not to use this as a crutch, but to just use it to help motivate you and just help get you in alignment, right? So whether or not we have a session booked, you have this. You know, you all as well that's watching this wherever you are in the world, you have this. So you can always just click back to this. Okay, let me practice. Okay, you know what? I don't feel like practicing by myself. Put this on and play this until you build up your own confidence to do your thing. But you could just practice the Om. You know, you could just do that, or you could go Om for a little bit. You know, whether it's 5 minutes, depending on how much time you have. Then go into the Ankh for 5 minutes, and then just go into the practicing of Ankhs. You know what I mean? Even if you're not in a space where you're able to yell and release the way I just did, build up to it. Wherever you have to start, we all have to start somewhere. Even if you're just at home and you're just contracting this, wherever you start, just start. It's cool. You know what I mean? But I want to just take those, just Ohm, Ankh, and Hedu Amket. And let's deal with these three until next time. Next time we'll build it up more. So let's see if we can just develop practice. Let's say with 5 minutes, starting your day with that 5 minutes. You get up, go ahead, use the bathroom, drink your water and stuff like that. And just take 5 minutes before you start rushing around about what you got to do. Let's just do that. Let's see if we can get this going let's do a 21-day challenge. 21-day challenge, 5 minutes in the rising, first thing in the rising. Why we do it first thing in the rising? Because that's the best time to do your spiritual work. And it sets yourself up for the day. You don't do your spiritual work, at nighttime when you're already drained, when you already face the day. Like, no, you start your day with that. That's like your coffee. That's your get up and go. That, like, you know how some people say, yo, don't talk to me until I got my coffee. I'm up here. This is your spiritual coffee. This is you centering yourself. Whatever work that you do that is going to make you feel better in whatever way and set you up for the day should be done first thing in the rising. You know what I mean? Not reading up the newspaper, not turning on the news and seeing how much people were killed and what tragedy we're facing for the day. Like, that sends you in the other direction. Like, there's always going to be stressful, chaotic things happening in the world. And, my heart goes out to them and everyone that deals with that. But really and truly, you have to focus on your world here, yours. All right? Let's get you feeling 100%. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the only thing that we can really control or be in control of. It's ourself. And that is Hedu, self-mastery. Shit. I'm gonna leave you at that note for this time. Have a blessed day.
Right.
It's up.
It's up.